I've learned something very important these last couple of weeks, and that is quarantine sucks. And today I really felt like expressing how much it sucks, and that is why today we are going to be looking at the Family Guy episode, Brian and Stewie. This episode revolves around the two accidentally locking themselves inside a bank vault. They stay stuck in there for 2 days with little to no food and no way of contacting anyone due to Stewie's stupidity. The thought of that alone is enough to drive anyone insane, and that's exactly how I would describe this episode. There's a scene where Stewie craps himself due to the fear of their situation, and he legit spends at least 4 minutes trying to convince Brian to eat it. After rejecting his offer multiple times, Brian eventually gives in due to that awful feeling of guilt. Yeah, he eats it. If that wasn't enough to harm their friendship, there are multiple scenes where the two bump heads. There's gun pointing from both sides, along with some pretty brutal comments made by Stewie in the middle of the night. In this scene, the two get drunk, and as soon as they finally start bonding with each other, Stewie unintentionally offends Brian by asking if he lives with purpose. Brian takes it the wrong way by thinking that Stewie is telling him his life doesn't have purpose. This starts a huge argument between the two. Stewie then tells Brian to his face that he doesn't actually care about him and he's been using him this entire time. Brian refuses to believe him, which leads to Stewie crossing the line.
I got you to eat my poop. And you know why I did it?
Yeah, you were afraid you were going to get sick.
Because I wanted to see if I could.
What?
Brian then tells Stewie that he could kill him for his actions, but they eventually both line up after Stewie accidentally fires a bullet and they both hide under the table for safety. This leads to the two apologizing for all that was said. The following day, they conclude that because they were both drunk, none of what was said or done really matters. They then chow down on some energy bars and Stewie brings up a very emotional question.
Hey, Bri.
Yeah?
How come you have a gun?
Brian, hesitant to answer his question, eventually confesses he keeps it in case he ever wants to commit suicide. He then reveals that Stewie's comments from yesterday about how he doesn't live with purpose is something that he agrees with himself. And no matter how many times he tries to find meaning in his life, he just can't. Stewie then informs Brian that he couldn't live without him in his life and expresses his appreciation for everything he's done for him.
You give my life purpose. And maybe that's enough. That's just about the greatest gift one friend can give another.
Thank you.
Shortly after, the door finally opens and they both head on their way. I watch Family Guy every now and then, but I wasn't expecting this episode to get this real. It kind of caught me off guard. Especially nowadays, this whole quarantine thing is driving a lot of us insane. I cannot stress enough the importance of looking out for one another and choosing love instead of fear. As much as it pains me to think about it, I know for a fact that at least one of you watching this video right now is going through something emotionally that could potentially lead to physical harm if not checked up on. And I know that I personally will never be able to comprehend the amount of pain you're going through, but I just want you to know it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to fight this alone, and it will get better. In fact, the possibilities are endless if we keep thinking positively. You are appreciated, and you do have a purpose. Even if it doesn't feel like it now, your potential is greater than you could ever imagine. Final words, don't take your family or friends for granted. Remember to love one another, and more importantly, love yourself. That's it. Stay safe.